I'm back on the stage. But, we have the unique opportunity. In the morning, I was talking to you about this. Sunil talked about this. I mean, most of the people are talking about how Amazon is actually enabling businesses that want to go global. And we have the top man from Amazon Global who is here. So Srinidhi basically heads the entire Amazon Global Selling Program. He has been with Amazon since 2016, and we are now looking at his guidance, his vision for all of us on how to be able to focus on global exports. सुबह से हम लोग ने बात करी कि भाई ग्लोबल जाना इम्पोर्टेंट है. अब ग्लोबल जाना अगर इम्पोर्टेंट है तो उसमें क्या क्या एलिमेंट्स हैं. We'll have a short conversation with Srinidhi and we'll get some answers from him. So, सुबह से we had a couple of discussions, Srinidhi. And we also had Sunil talk about, the fact that he only does business online. He has not gone into the offline mode today,
right,
as of yet. And he's looking at a 50 crore top line today, only on e-commerce. Now, on one side, you have this promise that you go online and there could be a huge degree of success that you'll get. But then we also have a lot of people who try and say कि मेरे से नहीं हो रहा, but कैसे करूँ, कहाँ करूँ? I mean, there's so many buts a lot of people have. The reason why we bring a lot of people on the stage who have been successful is so that they can share their failures as well as their successes. But do you feel this is a real scalable opportunity for micro and small entrepreneurs from India?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think that's a great question. And first of all, thank you for, having me here. Let me sort of, try and break that, question down, right? Let me first start with the numbers, right? Incidentally, this is our 10th year of inception. 2015 is when Amazon Global Selling started. Instantly, this is our 10th year. I think uske liye to taaliyan banti hain, right? And cumulatively, we have enabled around $13 billion in exports so far, right? And one of our pledges to the government also is that by 2030, we are going to enable cumulatively $80 billion in exports, right? However, the numbers is one thing. लेकिन जैसे आपने point out किया, is it really a good opportunity or not, right? And so this is the way that I would look at it. And if you take a step back, see, any business, if you take, it's essentially an exercise in value creation, right? And so what is the value here? So, and there are four things, that I would tell anybody, right? One is, do you have the right product or not, right? That is the most important thing, and the right product in the context of cross-border business, right? Because, essentially, why would somebody, a foreigner, sort of buy products from India, right? So, that has to mean something. So, India has a lot of, export strengths traditionally has a lot of conventional export strengths, let's say in cotton-based home textiles, right? In cotton-based apparel, in home decor. And, we just heard about, Ayurveda and, health and personal care and, stuff like that. So it is very important to realize that, these products actually find a lot of traction on worldwide marketplaces, right? On .com, on EU, on MENA, and, so on and so forth. So the first thing would be product. Ensure that, you have the right product. A lot of people don't realize India's strengths. And a lot of people think that, yaar, mere paas jo hai, main wo bechunga. But, unfortunately, it does not work that way. You really need to match, our strengths to, what is actually being demanded there, right? So that is one. The second one I would say is having the right intent, right? Because unfortunately, a lot of the times what people end up also doing is that, yaar, try karke dekh. Let me, send a couple of products and see how it's going to work out, right? Unfortunately, that does not work in the long term, right? Having the right intent in terms of having a plan, it need not be a big plan. I mean, you could say that 50 lakhs this year, that's a plan, right? But, you need to have the right intent, right? The third is, the capability and know-how, which is essentially a lot of people are also under the impression that exports is a beast, that, बहुत मुश्किल है ये करना because बहुत सारा compliances होता है, logistics problems होते हैं, बड़े-बड़े containers बेच पड़ते हैं, and, stuff like that, right? Incidentally, e-commerce exports has actually made all of that, a lot easier in terms of, having small shipments, having small order values, and, so on and so forth, right? So that's the capability part. And, the fourth is, having the right know-how, which is, using the right data, using the right tools, and, being data-driven, in terms of guessing the demand, kya karna padega to succeed, and, so on and so forth, right? So, I have a neat acronym for this. I call it PIC, which is product, intent, capability, and know-how, right? And on the capability and the know-how part, Amazon Global Selling has been doing a lot of work, in terms of creating the right ecosystem for people, right? Making compliance easy, for example, or, making logistics easy, for example, right? Or giving people or giving sellers and, our brands a lot of, self-serve tools, right? Giving them account management support and so on and so forth, so that, they can actually succeed, on the platform. So, C के हम कर सकते हैं, ये आपको करना, right? The product and the intent, right? I think that's the thing. See, I think whatever I say here in the next 10 minutes or whatever, I don't think I can say it better than what Ms. Bharadwaj has already said, right? And I think, that's sort of a great template to essentially follow, right? So that is what I would say. Yes, it's a great opportunity. The numbers speak for themselves here. I mean, $13 billion in 10 years, I think it says something, right? And we are very confident of this $80 billion by 2030. However, it is also important to contextualize this in terms of having the right product, having the right intent, make global, an intentional plan of your, overall piece, right? And it is also okay for you to say that, issa nahi, maybe I look at it 2 years later. That is also fine. But what is not okay is to say that, try karke dekh lete hain without a plan. I think that's the thing. On the capability and the know-how, we are here, right? What we have realized over a period of time is that this journey is not about Amazon Global Selling. It is about our sellers and brands, right? And it is about the right products and the intent that they bring into the table, which will serve our customers worldwide, right?
No, you what you stated earlier, you talked about the fact that, Amazon is looking at an $80 billion target from India by 2030. And the government has set another target, which is $200 billion.
Yes.
See, how do you think the government and the industry can come together, achieve this target overall? What do you think needs to be changed in the frameworks?
Yeah, no, I think great question. I think, obviously this is not a figure that can be achieved by one person in that ecosystem, right? And, everybody has essentially to come together. And, this is the way that I look at it, right? The role, I would see the role of people like Amazon Global Selling, like ourselves, is to, sort of enable the platform, right? And as I said, educate, give the right capability, give the right know-how, etc., right? Which is what, we've been trying to do since the last decade. In terms of the government and, the government, I'm very heartened to see the intent of the government, in terms of, the $1 trillion in exports or the $200 billion in, e-commerce exports, right? In terms of policy enablement, right? Because, and, we have taken all the rights, the government's taking all the right steps, because I think it was in 2023 when for the first time, e-commerce exports was actually added as a separate category of exports in the foreign trade policy, right? That actually shows the intent, right?
Also have, by the way, the people that are responsible for making that change.
So wonderful, and I'd like to really thank them for that.
And right? Have point, sir, right there.
Right.
He's the guy and along with his teammates, who's made the change.
Right.
The focus on e-commerce export.
Right.
So, the other thing that comes to my mind, we're talking about such a big country, massive numbers of people. For every small business owner here, in the morning I talked about this in my speech, that it is imperative for everybody to let go of the cocoon that we are living in and instead look at global markets, because there is a huge opportunity out there, and we are not able to figure out, we are getting stuck inside that little cocoon. And so you have 6.5 crore MSMEs and you 1.7 lakh exporters. I mean, the figures are, mind-boggling essentially. But what do you think about MSMEs? What is the real upside for them to go global?
Yeah, I mean, again, another great question here. In fact, one of the things that we have been seeing, right, is that this is not necessarily a big brand or big name play, right? In fact, a lot of the, exporters or brands who have made a name for themselves, I would say that, around 70-80% of them are actually MSMEs with us, right? So that's what it actually shows. Secondly, this is not a metro or a tier 1 city sort of a story. It's a tier 2, tier 3 city sort of a story, right? And, so I think MSMEs have a lot to offer here. I think, you also sort of touched upon the domestic, market as well. The domestic market is very robust, no doubt about it. It's growing. We should focus on it and, all of that. But I think we do live in times where everybody should meaningfully, intentionally evaluate, the global opportunity as well, right? Because a lot of the times people don't evaluate it basis their misconception, in the sense that, यार उस मार्केट में ग्रोथ नहीं होता है, राइट? या ये ऐसा क्रॉस बॉर्डर करना बहुत मुश्किल होता, राइट? नाउ none of that is actually true. अगर कुछ categories हम देखेंगे, like, toys or, the beauty or, health and personal care, we're talking about it growing upwards of 15, 20, 25% at that size, right? And, it is very important to realize that more brands every day coming in and, so on and so forth. So it is very important to realize that the 60 to 70% of the people who are doing well with us, right, on Amazon Global Selling actually happen to be MSMEs. And I think it is MSMEs, who have a huge role to play in, taking India to the world, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In the mornings, Sunil was talking about the fact that he's able to do, because he's online, so there are no problems in terms of scale. He's able to do 100% CAGR, year after year after year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that could be one of the biggest things. It might be obviously difficult. I was just talking to somebody outside, and she was saying that, I've still not looked at, going online, and I may not understand much. I'm a person who is primarily, a research person, and, I've been working in various companies. Now I started on my own. But I don't think it's very difficult to actually get online.
No, it's not. And I think it's more of a mental blocker than anything else, if you ask me, right? It's not. And we also, AGS also, Amazon in general, we also offer a lot of self-serve tools, right? You don't really need, anybody to help you, guide you. You can actually do things yourself, and a lot of self-serve tools and that people use and, succeed. And of course, there is a human interface as well. We are here, we are a large team. We offer the account management support. And as I said, it's not about us, it's about the ecosystem, right? And what we're also doing is, we're also doing a lot of work in terms of developing this third-party ecosystem, which we call the service provider network, right? Where, they actually offer a lot of these services, right? Compliance, logistics, account management, ads management, and, so on and so forth, right? So, the real work in terms of setting up the ecosystem, I think, that is what is essentially happening. And, all I would request for everybody here to, just tap into the ecosystem.
Excellent. So, before we go, what are the most potential markets that you could find for micro, small, medium entrepreneurs from India, around the world?
Well, I think the rule of thumb always is to go backward from the GDP, right? So the US, of course, continues to be our biggest market, right? I think, and anybody who is serious about export, I think, US is a market that, everybody should look at, because even today, that remains perhaps the most robust, vibrant, consumerist, sort of a market, right? So US is, that's very important. Followed by Europe specifically UK, right? Because there is the English language affinity, so that's great, right? So US and UK, and of course MENA, right? Which is your Dubai and Saudi Arabia, because of one, of course, it is their robust economies, and two, also that there is a very natural cultural affinity, because there's a lot of Indian diaspora there, right?
Very correct.
So, yeah, so if I were to summarize three markets, I think these would be the three markets to go up.
So now all of you remember the slide we saw in the morning? So we've got the first endorsement from Srinidhi on the slide. So that is the potential market for you. We don't have time for questions in this one, but you have the next session where we have a lot of other questions. So thank you very much, Srinidhi. I mean, it's really awesome, the fact that you came and spent time with all of us. It is really, really awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.